What's up, guys? Joeingram1, aka Chicago Joey here, coming to you with another special edition prop bet podcast update. Where, the Urubu prop bet, it's over. It's done. A 45-day prop bet, done in 9 days. Urubu has given up. The Brazilian who never gives up has quit. He told all his Brazilian friends in the poker forums, sell your car, sell your house, sell your sister, sell your drugs, sell everything. Bet all the money you have on me doing this prop bet. Well, it turns out that might have been a bad idea. So just a recap of what exactly happened here. Urubu made a prop bet thread where he wanted to play 500,000 hands in 45 days at 1, 2, 2, 4, and 3, 6 on PokerStars, where he's going to need to be up more than 1 cent at the end of it. He proposed 2-to-1 odds. He got about $60,000 in action, and he was betting 30,000 to win 60,000. And he seemed very, very confident that he'd be able to do this. Now, in my preview podcast, I said that I thought there was 0% chance he'd be able to do this, and I thought he was just looking to make a quick score, have a big, nice 100K month at mid-stakes, which is obviously pretty crazy. And I thought his plan of attack wasn't very optimal, and I thought that it just wasn't going to go well. And as it turns out, it didn't go well. So I'm going to try to make some sense out of all this. I'll recap the bet for you. I'll recap how the thread went. There was a big thread on 2+2, had about 300,000 views. And at the beginning it started off very supportive of Urubu, but by the end of things, it got pretty interesting, to say the least. Let's just say I think Urubu might have lost a couple fans by quitting so early into the bet when he was ahead of the hand pace, and he really wasn't down that many buy-ins, at the time of when he decided to quit. So right here, this is Urubu's first graph. So he started off really strong. Obviously in a bet like this, you want to put the hands in, and you want to try to get ahead of the pace, especially in the first week. I mean, this is the week where you're going to be playing your A game, you're going to be playing your best. You're probably going to be your freshest, because after 30 days of doing 11,000 hands a day, you're really not playing anywhere close to an A game. So this is the graph of the first day. About 5,000 hands ahead of pace, needed about 11K hands total per day. Down about $4,000, really isn't too much. Running below EV, and seemed to be in pretty good spirits in the forums. Day 2 graph, he, once again, did more hands than he needed to. So he's ahead of pace. He needs to be at 23K hands after about 2 days. He's at 30K. He's really crushing the pace, which is obviously what you should be. Ideally you'd want to be winning during this time span. But Urubu had a really weird strategy where he decided to mix 1, 2, 2, 4, and 3, 6 together at the same time, which is, I've done that plenty. It's the worst approach you could do for something like this. I mean, it's just, to play those three together, to play 2, 4, and 3, 6 together, I think is pretty, it's a lot easier than trying to play 1, 2, and 2, 4 together. Now, I mean, it seems like it should be, pretty similar. Like, okay, if you're going to play 20 tables, 1, 2, 2, 4, what's the difference? To me, it just seems like there's a very big difference in mixing those stakes together. And then when you take in 1, 2, 2, 4, and 3, 6, I mean, it's just dumb. It seems like a really dumb idea to do that. And I did tell you that before the prop bet when we were chatting, but, he seemed set on this strategy of having to play a lot of 3-6 hands when really he didn't need to play any 3-6 for the bet. So I'm going to, for people that watch my PLO podcast, sometimes I like to go over some hand histories and just comment on some plays. I'm not really going to do that with some hands. We have about 4 or 5 hand histories from the Urubu prop bet challenge, and I think most of them are going to be pretty self-explanatory. So this first hand was posted, a couple days in, and it features one of my favorite players to play on PokerStars, the deep tables, a young man out of China that goes by the name Imagine King. So in this hand history, you'll see Imagine King is about 723 big blinds deep, about 355 big blinds effective with Alexo. Not much else to say about him. His parents own a Chilean mining company. They give him an allowance each month, and that's what he's been gambling with for the past couple years. So this is just a hand where Imagine King, I thought it was an interesting hand because Imagine King decides to stick it all in pre-flop here with Queen, 2-9. And it's not a surprise he actually lost his hand. And Urubu won this hand. Wow. Urubu put in put in 250 big blinds pre-flop with ace, queen, queen, 7. It seems like a pretty good play to make when you're doing a 500,000 hand in a month prep bet. So I think I don't really want to talk much about this hand. I just thought it was a pretty interesting spot. So now a couple days in is where there was a couple days in when Urubu's main nemesis seemed to come to fruition, and his name was Paw717. Now, I talked to Paul a bit on Facebook, but I don't think I play with him too much, but he seems to have a very interesting game. So in this hand, Urubu raised, Paw 3-bet, and Urubu 4-bet, and Paw called. Now, I'm just going to show the hands right now because, I just want to show the hands. So Paw min re-raised preflop with 4, 6, 6, 8. Now he's in position on Urubu, so I guess when you 3-bet in position, 200 big blinds deep, it can never really be too bad. But Urubu decides to 4-bet with ace, queen, 9, jack with 1 suit, which I'm guessing Paul was probably 3-betting him a lot if he's 3-betting 4, 6, 6, 8 for the minimum size here. So 4-betting seems fine. Paul calls the flop. Urubu flops a pair of 9s. And obviously in a spot like this, he's representing, he has a hand like aces or kings or, 4 high cards. So he bets. Paul calls with 4, 6, 6, 8. The turn, the 2 comes, so obviously Paul has a full house. Urubu has ace high now, but Urubu is obviously representing that he has aces or kings in the spot, and he bets again. Paul calls, and on the river, Urubu decides to go all in, and Paul calls, and I have to think that this hand might have been a turning point 3 days into the bet where Urubu decided to lose his fucking mind. So this hand seemed to take place pretty shortly after that, where, we're 3 days into the bet. Really, your whole goal in something like this is you just want to make it through. You're not really trying to play psychotic. You're not trying to make plays. You're not trying to play tough. You're just trying to make it through. You need to win money. You don't really need to be doing crazy shit like this. It just shows a total fundamental error in your strategy in something like this. So Paul raises under the gun with at 2-4. They're about 185 big blinds deep. So Paul raises king 6, 7, 8 double suited. Urubu calls 10, 10, jack 8 with 1 suit. Godlike Roy, is fucking 47 big blinds, 3 bets, ace king 5, 6 doubles. Fucking Roy, him and his short stacker. Jesus. Paul calls Urubu. Urubu decides to go to 4-bet with 10, 10, jack 8, putting Roy all in. Paul calls. Paul shoves at ace 9 3 flop where he flops the nut flush draw. Urubu calls with 10, 10, jack 8, and Urubu ends up winning this hand. Or he ends up, Roy obviously runs really well. He won the main pot, and Urubu won the side pot. So that's just kind of a preview to come here. This hand was a couple days later. At this point, Urubu is ahead of the pace still, but he's not winning too much money. He's down 15, 16,000, something like that. And between Urubu and Paul, and obviously you can see right now Urubu's hand. So Urubu min raises at 3-6. Paul calls. The flop, Paul leads. Urubu raises. Paul min re-raises. Urubu re-raises. Paul re-raises. Urubu 8s it back. Paul 10s it back. Urubu goes all in. Paul calls. Urubu has a backdoor spade draw and bottom. He had a blocker to pocket fours. And Paul has 4 10s. So this hand. Listen, this is a guy who was advocating to the Brazilian Poker Forum to sell your car, to bet your money on me that I'm going to win this prop bet. This guy played this hand. He also played this next hand where once again, Urubu and Paul. I think Paul was, there was actually some speculation made by myself that Paul sold his house in Michigan. He sold his car. He bet his whole entire life savings against Urubu. And judging by some of the hand histories posted in the thread, it seems to look that way. So Urubu 3x's here. Paul calls from the blinds. Once again, we have a 10-10 4 flop. Paul leads. Urubu re-raises. Paul clicks it back. Urubu clicks it back. Paul 8 bets it. Urubu 15 bets it. Paul. Urubu shows ace. So Urubu has a backdoor hard draw and a backdoor straight draw. And he decides this is a good flop to put 170 big blinds in. Obviously, Paul running very well this bet. He has trip tens with an ace kicker. And honestly, from this point, I mean, there really isn't too many other hands to show. I mean, these hands kind of just, sum up how the things went. So at this point in time, Urubu decided to propose a potential buyout to people where he wanted to, I didn't quite understand what he was saying as far as the buyout he wanted to work, but he put up 30K, and I feel like he wanted to get back 20K, so he would end up paying 10K out to the bettors, and obviously the bettors would have been probably dumb to agree to this. I mean, like with hands like this being posted, and even though he's ahead of pace, I mean, it was going to take a total change of approach for him to be able to do this. And clearly, if he's already offering a buyout now, it would be very dumb to accept the buyout. But then something weird happened. He decided to try to get more action on himself. So he goes from wanting to buy out to wanting to get more action on himself. And this is when Joeingram1, friend of the podcast, also guest of the podcast, Joeingram1 scoops in and offers 4-1. And he ends up getting, I think he ended up booking 10K to win 2.5K, something like that. Maybe a slightly different amount. And obviously at this point in time, people are like a little bit confused. So Urubu goes from wanting to buy out to wanting to get more action. So he decides not to bet more action himself, but instead other people, supporters of him, fans of him, people who believe in him, because he's Brazilian, he never gives up. Those people decide that this is a plus EV spot to bet on him. So obviously, Joeingram1 books action with them, and then 2 days later, Urubu says he quits. He quits the bet. 9-10 days in. Now, I mean, I love doing prop bets, and if you're going to do a prop bet like this, there has to be no intention of ever quitting the bet. You either go busto, you can't borrow money anymore, or you make it to the last week or something. I mean, at this point in time, he's ahead of the hand pace. He could adjust his strategy, play less tables, play only 1-2. I mean, quitting just seems insane. I can't understand why you would quit. And there was some people in the forum speculating, was Joeingram1 working with Urubu to make extra money or something like that? Obviously, I think that's pretty crazy because Urubu had way more incentive to actually win the bet and win the side money than he would be to lose the bet and make some sort of extra money on side bets Joeingram1 made. And overall, I think Urubu ends up just looking like an even. I mean, we already knew he's a massive degenerate, but now he just ends up looking like kind of dumb. I mean, why would you do this bet and then you give up right away? Honestly, it's mind-blowing. I mean, I can't even understand, what's going on. So, I really don't have too much more to say about this prop bet. So, I was really excited, and and I think everyone was really excited to follow along, and here we are. This is the end. So, I posted a bit that I might try this prop bet next. Probably different odds. I don't think 2-1 odds is the right odds for this. I'm debating it. I might try to see if there's any interest in action. I live in the USA right now, so I have to relocate, out of the country to do this. And, I'm just not sure if it's something that's completely possible. But, I really do love a challenge. It's been a long time since I've done a challenging prop bet. So, there's a pretty good chance I might think about trying this, just at least gauge action at a bit better odds for myself. But with the World Series coming up, I'm going to head out there. So I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. yeah. So, guys, thanks for tuning in to this special edition of the finale of the Urubu prop bet, and you guys can subscribe to my YouTube channel at Joeingram1 or my Twitter at Joeingram1 and get updates. I just submitted my podcast to iTunes. You'll be able to search, no surprise, Joeingram1 to get all my podcasts down there. And yeah, so I'll have a new PLO podcast up very shortly, an official PLO podcast. No more prop betting to talk about. So, yep, thanks for watching, and Urubu. It was fun.